We'll hear an exciting testimony in today's video from a former close associate of T.D. Jakes, revealing the gay lifestyle that he and his son were involved in. We'll learn how Sarita Jakes, T.D. Jakes' wife, has known about Jakes' sexual orientation for a long time. Watch this space for more details on these emerging events. Questions have been raised about T.D. Jakes' relationship to rapper Sean Combs, better known by his stage names Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. According to a number of social media outlets, 2018 saw the termination of P. Diddy's 11-year romance with Cassie Ventura. Cassie is suing Diddy right now, saying he'd assaulted her sexually and repeatedly abused his body. Bishop T.D. Jakes is brought into the dispute by the strong evidence that Cassie has presented in support of herself. Because of the way things are going, Bishop Jakes is now caught in the middle of P. Diddy and Cassie's turbulent relationship-related claims and court cases. According to the allegations, the bishop attended Diddy's parties where same-gender intimate acts were taking place. To further complicate matters, a young man living in the Potter household is accusing his former pastor of sexually abusing him while he was a minor. The married bishop seems to be more interested in men than in women. Not only is Bishop Jakes blamed for this tendency, but so are his two eldest sons. A former T.D. Jakes associate revealed shocking information regarding the well-known pastor, his wife, Sarita Jakes, and her two boys in a recent episode of the MVMO podcast. She asserted that Sarita knew T.D. Jakes was gay before they were married, implying that she joined him in order to hide his sexual orientation. It was said that T.D. Jakes made this decision without hesitation since he accepted Sarita and her two sons, even though they weren't biologically his own. The source highlighted how T.D. Jakes embraced Sarita and cared for her kids as if they were his own, forging a close relationship that apparently resulted in Sarita's steadfast allegiance. Please click the link in the description below to listen to the entire episode on her channel. Check out this particular audio episode to learn more about these revelations. Please pay attention to the full audio file because the most startling information is at the very conclusion. I don't fear being sued for anything I post here, and I will be giving the first initial of names just to make sure that everybody listening gets that okay.
Anything I share here, I'm not worried about being sued. And just to be sure that anyone listening understands that, I will be giving the first initial of names, okay? There are people talking who are just sharing rumors, but not all of us are sharing rumors, okay? I had a mentor from 1999 to 2000. She was my mentor. Mr. R, okay? His first name started with an R. So Mr. R used to be a boarder in her home. Now, my mentor told me Mr. R is gay, and his wife knows he's gay. Mr. R was a part of the ministerial staff. He became a minister, and he was very close to T.D. Jakes, okay? And she said he told her that, he was going to share some things with her that she could never tell anybody. And so later on, she tells me and a few other people that he did come. They had set up a time and date for him to come to her house. He came and he talked with her for several hours, just divulging stuff, behind the scenes ministry stuff. And she told us some things I can never tell y'all, but what he did tell her was that T.D. Jakes was gay and that T.D. Jakes had a relationship with a man. Now, I will stop and say, whether that man was Mr. R, I don't know, because she never told us that. But then she told us there are things I can never say, I can never tell, because I swore, that I wouldn't tell, some of the stuff that he told me. I'll tell you, as soon as they got through talking, she left that church. My mentor did, and it devastated her. Not too long after the things that Mr. R shared with her and swore her to secrecy to, she had a stroke. I always believed, and I still believe it now, that it was the stuff he told her that contributed to her having that stroke, because the timeline was just too close. The Jakes have 5 children, boys. Both their names start with a J. One is light skinned, one is dark skinned. It is true that the 2 older sons are gay. The 2 older sons are not his biologically. They're not the sons of Jakes. Now, the sons, one is darker skinned. The darker skinned son is the one who was caught in Keith's Park many years ago. Now, those two sons, they are not the biological children of Thomas, okay? Before, Sarita was a teen mom, okay? She had both of the boys when she was a young woman. And sometime later, I don't know if it was years, I don't know the time frame of between her having and her meeting Thomas. That part of their story, I don't know. But one of the great things that made her fall in love with Thomas was that he accepted her two boys. And yes, he did later adopt them. So he's the man that raised them, because I don't know anything about their biological father, y'all. I don't know who he is. That's the part I can't say. My mentor told me, and I'll never forget this, there was a time when the Jakes lived near White Rock Lake in Dallas. Okay, they had a home. They used to have a home over there. And she told me her friend was part of this group of people that had gone to the house. But I don't know how many sessions they had, but this was a time, as I said earlier, where people kind of saw homosexuality differently, especially in the church. And so they believed that it was an evil spirit and it could be cast out. And so she was telling me that the friend had said that they had had a few sessions at the Jakes' home where they were trying to cast the devil out of these two boys. And I remember, I'll never forget, she said to me, she said, and they said every time they would get to a point where they thought they were going to cast him out, Jakes would leave the room. Why? I don't know. What he was leaving the room for, I don't know. When all this stuff comes out over the next days and weeks about Thomas, T.D. Jakes, which stands for Thomas Dexter, for those who may not know, I don't want to assume everyone knows what that stands for. I want all of you to understand that Sarita was a part of the cover-up. So very often when things come out about these husbands, the wives, the wives get to play innocent. People assume they're innocent, kind of like the Vanessa Long, Eddie Long situation. People assume they're innocent. The wife kind of skates off and people look at her like, aw, but that's never the case. It's never the case. When women like Sarita go along, participate in, when I say participating, I don't mean necessarily the act, I just mean go along with the cover-up and pretending that it's not what it is. That's what makes these things go on for years and years and years, because as women, we have power. And when we leave a man, people know something's up. What I'm saying is when it all comes out, I don't want anyone to be like, "Aw, poor Sarita." No, it's not going to be poor Sarita. Sarita, people have gotten information back to Sarita for years about her husband. But there came a time when certain things were getting back to her, and then he took over her email. Listen, Thomas buys Sarita's clothes. He's always bought her clothes. And so you got to understand the kind of state Sarita was in when she met Thomas. What would she have done if she left him? She didn't have nothing. She had nothing. She came from nothing. She was a coal miner's daughter. When I say she came from nothing, I don't mean she as a person isn't valuable. What I'm saying is she didn't come from prestige or money or anything like that. She was a poor girl who had come from upside a mountain in West Virginia. And it was because of him that, she is and has all that she does. So I don't know. I'm not trying to get into her mind and understand why she stayed, why she was okay with him having these extramarital relationships. I don't know. All I know is I'm not even sure if she would have ever had anything had it not been for him. And so maybe she felt some sort of devotion to him because of that. I don't know. And he did take her two sons that she had out of wedlock. Again, not a shaming statement. I'm just saying that because that's the phrase we used to use. And he raised them. I won't be shocked by anything that comes out, but I do know a lot of people are. And I just hope that they don't put it in the lap of God. God doesn't have anything to do with these folks' messes and schemes and sleeping around and whoremongering. He has nothing to do with it. You have to understand it wasn't God allowing, it was us allowing. These rumors have been out for years. How come the church never held him accountable? Maybe he would have sat down years ago.
For years, people have been sending Sarita information about her spouse. But eventually, when some things were reaching her, he started to handle her email. Sarita's clothes are purchased by Thomas. He has always purchased her clothing. You now have a better understanding of Sarita's situation when she first met Thomas. If she had left him, what would she have done? She was not without anything. She was devoid of everything. She had no prior experience. She was the daughter of a coal worker. She didn't start with nothing, and by that I don't mean that she is a priceless individual. To put it another way, she wasn't descended from a wealthy or prestigious family. She was a poor girl from West Virginia who had come from the top of a mountain. She is who she is and has what she has because of him, you know. Therefore, I'm not attempting to read her thoughts to figure out why she stayed and accepted him having these extramarital affairs. I'm not sure. All I know is that, if it weren't for him, I don't even know if she would have ever had anything. Perhaps as a result, she felt a certain kind of attachment to him. I'm not sure. He did, in fact, adopt her 2 sons that she had not married into. Once more, not a derogatory claim. We used to say it. So that's why I'm bringing it up. And he brought them up. Anything that comes out won't surprise me, but I know a lot of others will. So I just hope they don't place the blame on God. You know, God has nothing to do with the whoremongering, sleeping around, and messing about that these people do. That is unrelated to him. You have to realize that we allowed it to happen. God did not. For years, there have been rumors about this. Why didn't the church ever hold him responsible? Perhaps years ago, he might have taken a seat. Though dubbed the power bottom on social media, T.D. Jakes' wife is unwaveringly supportive of him. Only hours after T.D. Jakes' purported Hollywood controversy made headlines, she posted a very instructive message on social media. "What if I told you that God is using our struggles to strengthen us?" she said. She went on to remark that 2024 is the year of palate cleansing, according to Bishop Jakes. By bringing success into the areas where we lack confidence, we are thereby disturbing the devil. Because we are aware that God's strength has already secured our victory over all obstacles. Rapper P. Diddy has been responsible for T.D. Jakes' reputation being completely destroyed. Social media has been buzzing with talk about T.D. Jakes due to outrageous claims that he attended bizarre parties hosted by music moguls. Jakes was at the top of the Xtrends list. In his sermon, Jakes addressed the charges during a recent YouTube church session, saying he thought they were completely false and wanted to clear the air. According to rumors that surfaced on social media last week, Jakes is gay and frequently attends Diddy's parties, where he allegedly partakes in outrageous behaviors, including having sex with several men. But Jakes wants to dispel all the allegations and said that he will address everything head-on when the moment is appropriate. He answered, "I know who I am. I didn't come here to convince you or anybody else. You can think about anything you want to think about. That is not the point of this. I came to fulfill my duty. I came to prophecy as instructed. I arrived to hear the master congratulate his well-behaved and obedient worker." Jakes goes on to explain that when he gets the chance to preach the truth, he will not utilize this holy day at this holy pulpit to address a lie. A representative for T.D. Jakes released a statement in response to internet allegations that said he was dating Diddy. Jordan Ora states in the statement that the latest allegations on Bishop T.D. Jakes making the rounds on some social media platforms are categorically untrue and unfounded. As the late Pastor Charles H. said, he says what has always been true. If you wish for the truth to travel the globe, you will need to hire an express train to transport it. Nevertheless, a lie can travel the world by flying, feeling as light as a feather, and being carried by the breath. Diddy was sued for alleged sexual assault in November following Cassie's lawsuit. The next day, he made his peace with her. A 17-year-old girl was allegedly forced into prostitution, and in 1991, he is accused of drugging and sexually abusing a college student. Aaron Hall, a singer and composer, is said to have done the same to 2 other women. Diddy resigned as chairman of Revolt Network. Dwayne Johnson refuted every claim in a recent statement. "It's enough," he declared. "I have been sitting quietly for the past few weeks, seeing attempts to discredit me, my legacy, and my character." He went on to claim that people hoping to make a fast buck had fabricated horrifying accusations about him. To be crystal clear, I did not do any of the horrible things that are being accused. Diddy continued, I will stand up for the truth, my family, and my name. Social media users made comments about the issue. A user commented, saying, This looks familiar. We were dealing with R. Kelly's similar behavior not too long ago. He claimed to be completely innocent, but he was ultimately found guilty, so let's wait and see. Similar to most individuals, I sincerely hope that this is untrue. A different person said, As a pastor, I say that we get dirty when we hang around dirt. Scripture was originally taught and advised to lead separate lives by the church. Although Diddy has never visited the church, Bishop is frequently spotted at parties and at his home. There are a lot of bewildered, newborn people in the body. Beliefs ought to serve as a shield for them. He ought to insist Diddy make a public statement. We owe it to one another to uphold the gospel in our way of life. Express your desires. Accountability is required. He declares, I know who I am. The issue is that innocent people's blood shouldn't have to be tarnished in this way. The church's name is both a source of pride and shame. I'm just going to wait and watch for the receipts, said a different user. Everything in the bucket always rises to the top of the well. The audio testimony makes it very clear that Jake is hiding a lot of secrets, and those secrets should start to come to light over the next few days. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the film, and I sincerely hope that we all keep trying to please God. Kindly ensure that you hit the notification bell, like, and subscribe in order to receive updates whenever new videos are posted. Whenever a new video is posted, I appreciate you seeing